saying the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll use the flag in the middle over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and happy President's Day, everybody. We'll get started with roll call, please.
Chair Lynch is excused. Vice Chair Stanley.
Present.
Myself, Susan Lance. Alderwoman Courtney Day.
Here.
Commissioner Remington.
Here.
Commissioner Malecki.
Here.
Commissioner Kozler.
Here.
Non-voting ex officio Leah
Here.
Bus. And non-voting Michelle Runte. Absent. Okay, Kevin Schlater.
Here.
Principal Planner X.
Here.
Dale Borchert.
Here.
And we have Mayor Nelson. And is that
And
Alderperson Eichman?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you for being here tonight. It does not look like we have citizens to make comment, but I'll open the floor. And at this time, I'll close the floor for comments, and we'll jump right into the approval of the minutes. Should have received a copy of the minutes in your email.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
All right, we have our minutes passed.
You
Does
gotta vote.
everybody else?
Oh, all in favor, my bad.
Aye.
Aye. Perfect.
I would like to suggest taking item IVG first. The mayor has joined us so that he can be part of that discussion. I provided a memo to you, which I apologize that it wasn't available earlier, but I wasn't able to finish it until today. But a memo has been circulated with some of the background information about this and planning's recommendations. So the important thing to know is that the Common Council adopted a motion to amend the municipal code to add the duties of the Environmental Commission to those of the Parks Commission effective May 1st. So there's a set of recommendations here from planning staff, briefly, that the commission be the Parks and Environmental Commission. The Environmental Commission has certain duties that it's called out for in the current and proposed development ordinance, and so that would allow for that to continue. Some discussion of administrative issues. As I've mentioned previously, the consolidation of these commissions reduces the overall administrative burden on the department. So prepping for 2 meetings, holding 2 meetings, etc., especially when there is like a lot of overlap in the subject matter that you guys review, does create a burden of administrative burden for the planning department, for myself, and for other administrative staff members that are responsible for those duties. There's some updates that will be needed just in terms of how the bodies handle records retention, how that information is presented on the website to preserve the records of both organizations. There's an open question of who is the parks director. So presumably that's Kevin, the DPW superintendent, but the position isn't in the city's org chart, and so that's something that needs to be clarified. And then who is responsible for doing kind of the policy work that the commission does. The proposed commission, the new commission, will have 6 voting members, so 6 residents, as well as an alderperson and the same ex officio membership.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, about the alderperson on that?
One alderperson,
Okay.
6 voting members, resident members, and then the same ex officio membership. And that's a benefit for us in the sense that, like, the Parks Commission has never had trouble recruiting members, while Environmental Commission, this was one of the reasons that this was proposed, is that that commission has, in many cases, not even been able to make quorum in terms of having meetings, even though they have this review requirement that they must meet. So I'll note that 2 members of the Parks Commission will not be continuing with the commission in 2025, so Commissioner Kostler is also stepping down because she's moving, and as I think we've discussed, Commissioner Malecki also won't. So that'll clarify some of the appointment process, and then a discussion of recruiting. And then just broadly speaking, so One of the things that happens on a regular basis, and probably the best example of this is the discussion of invasive species buckthorn, is that there are resident requests that come to both commissions when they are asking for feedback that then goes to the Common Council, or items that get referred back down and both commissions look at them in one way or another. And so buckthorn is a great example of that, where residents really want to do work in the city's parks, and that's an environmental issue. So they talk to Environmental Commission first, and then that person gets referred back to Parks Commission and so forth. So it's a good example of an area of overlap, but it's not the only one. It's also important to note that the city is actually the owner of a significant portion of natural resources in the city, and those natural resources are considered a park system. So some of them are set aside as conservancies, some of them are active programmed parks, but at the end of the day, that conservation effort is something that the Parks Department takes care of, and Environmental Commission has wanted to have a role in that as well. So the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan includes many conservancy areas that are either currently or in the future proposed to be owned by the city, but would not be subject to development. So how those lands get managed are something that this commission is going to be responsible for on a policy level. And I think combining the two would be beneficial. And then just both groups want to create a Friends of the Parks. So the Environmental Commission actually puts together a number of events throughout the year. They're comfortable managing volunteers. Staff that works with them have also, so Arbor Day is the example that I've mentioned previously. But I think it would be a cool area of collaboration. So the memo memorializes your feedback as I understand it, and also feedback from the commission. And then there's the legislative researches here, along with a copy of the ordinance that was adopted. So I'll try to briefly summarize what has happened and why, but I'm happy to answer questions. And then the mayor has taken time out, and he probably has some comments to add as well. So.
Well, to start, Marion, thank you for putting this document together. It's very comprehensive and it's very inclusive. And I'm not sure if Courtney had a chance to see this before.
Sorry.
No. But I mean, it's all things that we discussed at that council meeting.
It is.
So.
And when the question I know Commissioner Remington brought up was maybe a few meetings ago about, not being familiar with environmental issues, and either was I, as I was put on there, but I asked and worked with staff. In fact, I worked with Marion. And, there's things that are going to pop up that none of us are familiar with, but we depend on staff to have the answers, and we get to take guidance from there. So to not have this large depth and scope of what goes on doesn't matter, because we're going to be going with staff discussions and staff questions, and you can always contact them ahead of time and get clarification. So that's that piece on that, but it's also combining the two takes another meeting off of her plate and their plate, because it's not just, it's her normal job, planning's normal jobs, and then boards and commissions and common council meeting and plan commission. It's never ending, and this makes sense, and it's more efficient in my opinion, streamlines things, and we are absolutely, it makes sense. So I'll yield to maybe Courtney's got something.
You kind of covered the main point, because I was taking notes at our last parks meeting and brought all of that forward to council that evening for discussion points. And I think one of the biggest things I had heard here, or the two biggest things, were the time component, that sometimes these meetings are long. Excuse me. And also the fact that of what the mayor just brought up, not having the expertise or the knowledge behind some of the natural resource special exceptions or some of the other environmental things. And what I will say to both of those is Environmental Commission doesn't meet necessarily every month. There's not always something that they have. So it's not like every meeting there will be added agenda items for it. And then the other piece about the expertise is that we rely on staff to kind of bring forward staff reports. So I don't know if you've done that so much for parks meetings, but like, for example, on plan commission, when there is someone's asking for a zoning exception, the planning commission will give us kind of their staff report of kind of breaking down what is being asked, what the city's code looks like, what they're asking for as the exception, and then they kind of give us their recommendation. So a lot of the legwork is right there in our packet that we read through, and we kind of get all of that background ahead of time. I don't proclaim to be any sort of expert on zoning. I rely on the staff comments. So I'm thinking things like that would be similar with, if there was some sort of special resource exception, we get those at Plan Commission as well, where there's a staff report that you kind of get in your packet to look at. So I think, it's not as daunting as it sounds, but there'll be, learning curves and whatnot. But I think it's manageable. And I think because so many of you have been on this committee for such a long time, you're surprised at what you know. It's not going to be like new things to you. It's a lot of things that you've probably already talked about or seen in other places.
Will people from the Environmental Commission, will they be asked to join this group if two are leaving? Versus putting it open, how that's on the website, open?
Yes. Whatever openings there, I know there was one member that I think, you sent an email to me recommending, there was one member from environmental that we definitely want to have on the commission.
Yep.
And I think with the vacating of 2 members, we'll be able to accommodate that.
Because they
Well,
had
if
what
there's
they had
only 3
three?
members on it, and we're going to be missing 2, plus we already have a vacancy,
We do?
wouldn't they? That's what it said on the website.
Do we have a vacancy?
It said
As
that.
of
I looked,
tomorrow.
I looked
I know when we
today.
first started talking about this months ago, and I'll finish this up real quick, is,
Okay.
yes, if there's 3 members open, there's 3 vacancies here, yes, we would ask that they all come here. Short and sweet answer to that.
I looked on the website just before we came to see how many openings we had.
Because I've been filling like personnel and all these other ones, but I didn't on purpose fill the parks one because of the environmental stuff, and I purposely didn't fill environmental because we knew we were combining, so, yes.
All right.
Well, as I said before, my main objection was,
Oh, I got you.
in combining them, was that we would get complaints on the sound and the lighting and all that stuff from the rock. And you just clarified that
No.
before.
Actually, that would be helpful, I think, for the group, though, since that's a separate conversation. That is something that the Environmental Commission has had come before them as noise issues. But the Planning Department has been working with the community as part of our development ordinance update to revise the noise ordinance and clarify how some of the enforcement around that works. And it is essentially a separate set of review and issues. So, I mean, there are times when noise would be relevant to the parks or to environmental issues, but your task is covering the public lands, and then if there was a separate discussion that came up, currently the noise is being handled by planning as a zoning issue. So.
You want me to say anything else?
Oh.
You're looking at me like I owe you money. No?
You do.
What? Right? Anything, I've got nothing more on that.
I mean, I think just again that we really appreciate the work that all of the volunteers do, and I know this
Are we still meeting on Mondays?
Oh, that's a good
question.
So my short answer to that is yes. So my short answer is if I have input on how this is done, I want to keep it on the normal park schedule.
Okay.
So that's how that would be rolling. So that keeps.
So is that the second Monday of the month usually, right?
Mm-hmm. I think the ordinance changes that, so. One thing that I would propose to do with the group is maybe take a review at one of your future meetings of agenda items and kind of, the agenda gets crafted with the input of the chair and the commission. But I think there are ways that maybe we can streamline and organize it a little bit better. So when the consolidation occurs, I'll have a conversation with the chair about how to present a combined agenda, but then we should talk about what is going on the agenda. If there are items that can be removed, if there's some future area of discussion that needs to be considered, et cetera. That's obviously something that's sort of always, you can always bring items to the chair or to staff to recommend for the agenda, but maybe have a conversation about it intentionally with the whole group when the consolidation occurs. So.
You are gonna cover other things.
Right now?
Yeah.
We're just
Well,
on
you
item
did-
G right now, though.
You did say to me that,
Yeah, there's a portion of
You-
Kevin's stuff that when we get to that, and then I'm gonna incorporate that software discussion. I don't wanna go out of order, I'm just saying we're on G now,
I
which,
thought you were in a hurry to leave, okay.
well, when those are discussed, then I'll go there, which doesn't start till 7.
Any further discussion?
Just for the record that I arrived at 6:32, you got that? And then could I have approval to use my phone unless we have a printed copy of the agenda?
Go ahead.
You can use your
Always
phone.
have.
Well, not in the code of conduct, it says.
Code of conduct's on hold.
Yeah.
Thank you for the approval.
Well, you can use it for reference.
That was brought up for council meetings, that was,
Oh, well, I thought
for
it was all
administration
commission.
stirring the pot
I read
now.
it, I signed it, I just want to abide by it.
oh, I know, I refused to sign it, and I wasn't gonna sign anything, so it's just for the record. So anyway,
All right, any further discussion? We expect to have the first combined meeting in May, and all of the associated administrative paperwork would be presented at a Parks meeting prior, I'm assuming. Will we have to sign, like we did when we got sworn in to be a member of the Parks Commission under the new title? Would we have to be sworn in again?
I don't know, we can find a clarification from the clerk on that.
And then,
It's a good
if
question.
the vice chair from that commission is moving over, I would make a recommendation that she be the vice chair of the commission to make it, even as far as leadership would be her and then the Parks Commission. And I would be willing to be just a regular commissioner again.
Are we getting the vice chair here? Is the vice chair moving over from that?
Well, she'll be
If that's
invited.
Marion, I don't know, I haven't any contact.
Oh,
That is the person I recommended.
And
Yeah.
so recommend the vice chair?
Yeah, and that's the chair. So the secretary is an appointee of the chair, and the vice chair is an elected member. So you guys
Yeah, we
elect
could do
the vice chair.
election
So
again.
yeah, and it's about time to do that again anyway. So
Great.
I'll check on the schedule for that. It's typically in March, April.
It was April last time.
Yeah.
Co-chair?
Yeah, perhaps the co-chair would be for the new commission, and then we can move forward with equal leadership. All right, any other further discussion for item G? Then we'll move on. Is there another one that we need to do? Is it the parks
Kevin,
update?
what's yours?
For the rec department league reservation request?
Which one?
Which item number is it that the mayor needs to discuss?
8.
Yep,
A?
under new business.
Oh, new
A as in
business.
Adam,
Okay, let's skip to that then.
please.
Franklin Rec Department League reservation request for pickleball. There's a request to reserve the new Lions Legend courts April through October, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Spring outdoor, it's April 21st through June 7th, and summer outdoor is June 9th through August 30th, and the fall outdoor would be September through October. Can I just say one thing? We had gone to 5:30 because of a public issue last year when we did this, because they didn't feel like they had enough after work time. But then I see we've gone back to 5.
Yeah, I thought we can do 5:30, but I figured with the 10 extra courts.
Well, do we need to
Wasn't
do
gonna be a-
5:30?
I don't know, that'll be.
That man never came after he came to the meeting, so I don't see why we would move back. And there are more than ample enough courts in the city now.
Can I get a motion to suspend the rules to speak?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
To
Is anyone willing to make the motion? To suspend the rules, so I can
We're a
speak?
little loosey goosey. Just go ahead.
Yeah, this isn't,
Well, I just wanted to add, in my district, I'm the one that gets the complaints when multiple residents try to go play pickleball. Everyone's excited about the new courts, everyone wants to be on them at the same time. Well, I appreciate the Park and Rec program using them as well, but I feel that we need to come to some middle ground compromise. This has been discussed in the past, I've spoken at meetings about this in the past. That 5:30 time, I think is wonderful versus the 5, that extra half hour that say high school kids after school then can go play up until 5:30. It's the city that maintains the courts. We just built the courts for, what was it, 1.2 million? Am I correct on that? We make no profit off the Park and Rec funds that they're collecting on the city side of things. Kevin can speak more on that if he wants to. But as far as maintaining the courts and so forth, where does that money from the Park and Rec go to? Back into the Park and Rec program? It doesn't go to the courts, or?
Well, Park and Rec are separate in the city of Franklin, as you know. So Rec Department representative is there and they do collect fees.
And we're gonna offer to do the windscreen and then the paddle holders. That's kind of on here as well.
I mean, I really would like, I play pickleball as well, not as professional as some of you, but I really would like to see the complaints that I receive go down this summer. I've got other complaints and things to deal with versus taking nonstop calls about pickleball and people not being able to get on the courts.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when it comes to reservations, getting complaints from residents that they can't use a court, but yet non-residents can use a court and reserve it through the rec department because they're part of the rec group. You know, we have to tell the residents something. What, you know, I don't want to say the face of it, but I'm the one getting the call. What do I tell the taxpayers?
Have you asked them
Well-
if they've tried to join the rec?
Rec Department opens up to only residents first.
Right.
And then we open up to non-residents, and typically it fills up prior.
But
We
people
have very
just want to
few,
play
maybe
though.
they get onto a wait list, but we have very few, especially for the spring and summer with outdoor.
People just want to go and play. They want to walk down from the condos they live in and go and play. They don't want to be in an organized
Yeah.
pickleball.
We've also talked about proximity doesn't give them first dibs to the courts. I
No,
live
I'm
far
not
away
saying
from the
that.
courts and I have to drive to them.
Right.
And I'd like to get a court too. It has taken up a lot of the Parks Commission's time to figure it out. We don't currently have a proper reservation system online or an ability to take funds, even if we wanted to. Right now, it would be a clerk writing into a calendar what reservations we have. So the only program we have is through the Franklin Public Schools. So that's why we've been using Rec Department, and it fills up, doesn't it? It's very popular. People wait till midnight to get on and make their order for their registration to get on there. And we made accommodations when we had some public complaints. They came in, we adjusted it by half an hour. That's half an hour for 70 people who sign up for pickleball, giving it up. So we're trying to make accommodations. I don't think we're set up in the city, though, with the programming to make reservations how we would like to.
Joe, go ahead, Kim.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but the reservations wouldn't help people because, I mean, we're talking quite a large grouping here of reserved times. And it's basically wiping out all the prime times for that court.
For
And-
for that court, but we did also last year say we did not approve anything except for the high school at Pleasant View to have reserved court time, and there's also 6 courts at Friend. I know it's not city courts; they're county courts. I don't know what to say. It seems like the rec department has had a program for a long time. It would seem like it wouldn't be useful to break that program when I know the sport is getting more popular, but the program has been around a long time in the city now.
Yeah, we've just increased by 16 courts in the city of Franklin since last summer. And we have complaints from the tennis players now that we don't have enough tennis courts. And they'd like to get the courts reserved now. I saw that on the parks thing, that they want to have a scheduled tennis time as well, you know? So, or somebody was discussing it, like they wanted to have parks rec department have like a pickleball, have a tennis club, so that they could have a league as well. But we haven't gotten to that point yet either, and we're still entertaining complaints about not having enough tennis courts in Franklin now.
Is it ever possible to leave one or two of the courts open for open play and then have the park and rec take over the rest? Is that ever an option?
It is possible, but the thing of that is we just increased the size to 10 because of its popularity through the rec department. And again, there's how many courts at Pleasant View? 4? Four.
6 courts,
6 over at,
Fleming.
and I don't know if this summer if they're converting the Vernon Bargs back or if different courts are. Well, then there's 4 courts there as well.
And I'd have to pull up our map. We have the ones that are dual marked, which means if you brought your
Kinwindle.
own portable net, you could set up. And I've seen that at Pleasant View and also at not Kinwindle. Well, actually, I've seen it at
Kinwindle's
Kinwindle.
are striped,
Yeah,
3
double
courts.
stripe. So we've
Pleasant
tried
View.
to make accommodations, for them.
Do you have this thing? We've created this before. Did you ever see that before?
A lot of our
It should be
residents
on our
have shown up
website.
and
I don't
made
know if
comments
anybody
and
put
then
it on
not
there.
known.
Maybe refer them to that. That's all our courts that we have available.
Right, and I do, and I've tried last year as well, but, I mean, the excitement is the brand new courts, that's what everyone wants to
Yes.
play on.
Of
Big
course,
time.
and I know that the people in the Franklin League have been looking forward to moving over because we've been the ones making the complaint about the conditions of the old courts with the
Right.
cracks and affecting our ability to have a professional game, semi-competitive, our serious players.
But if somebody looks at this, it doesn't state, it says the parks are open. But it doesn't state that is there anything, I guess I should have looked, on the website that says these courts are not available during these times?
They have a placard at the courts where it's put in to say that they've been reserved.
Is it possible to get something on the website as well?
I'm not sure, Marion, is that possible with your?
It should be
Website
possible.
manager.
So the commission has a section of the website that you can add stuff to. If the clerk's office wanted to put it with their information about parks, that would be a separate decision. But we can just add stuff to the Parks Commission part of the website without.
So it can be added.
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
that people would know that they wouldn't be surprised. I was surprised the first time I went on a Friday morning and I found out it was reserved by Sam's group when I first started playing. And I thought, but it said on the website that,
Reserved but open to anybody.
right, that you could play
He
in.
had
but-
open to everybody, yeah.
But yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe we'll put that in.
And are we gonna go at the 5 o'clock or the 5:30?
Do we
Not
need
sure.
to
We haven't
vote?
discussed about that yet. Does anybody else have any discussion on the league reservations as
Yeah, I
they
just-
are stated?
I just have one question. So last year, Leah, which courts did you use for Vernon Barg? And then, so that was how many courts?
8.
8. So now so those 8 courts you wouldn't in theory be using this year. So I can see the excitement of the new court, bringing new people in, but I think with the overlay, it might be okay with 10 new courts that Rec is using, plus the new courts at Fleming. There are more courts in the area. I would say, I think my recommendation would be, if we're going to go with this, I guess my recommendation would be to seriously consider moving it back to 5:30, even though the gentleman, as you said, didn't use it last year after making the request. It does still give that extra half hour for other people who aren't in the league to still use the space on the new courts. I think that's a fair compromise.
I could add to that, how does Fleming get scheduled? Because it's a county.
The
so-
county has online, it's
Well-
open play, but they have an online reservation system.
Well, if you wanted to actually reserve it, they're going to have a program themselves if people want to pay through the county to play, like a rec department.
Okay,
Last year it didn't work. People didn't want to do it. They didn't want to pay to play there.
right.
And so it ended up, everything was open play unless somebody, you wanted 4 people and you wanted to reserve a court.
And I guess just and just one last thing, unless Kevin, you still got
My only other suggestion was gonna be, does the city have the rec department put an extra charge on for the city? Whether it be,
like put a surcharge?
yeah, per person.
Well, our prices already went up on
Summer?
from the last time, not for winter. Winter was higher than last summer.
Based on weeks is what we do. It's like $3 a session.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
If the
winter or summer?
All of them
Outdoor?
are like that.
Outdoor?
So if it works out where it's like 8 weeks, you got $24. If it's like a 10-week session, you're $30. So it kind of, I haven't raised the prices on those for a while.
When we started, it was 15. Now it's 30.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
like
No,
5 years.
is it?
It's within
For-
three years.
8 weeks, 10 weeks?
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Kevin, as far as a charge or
I-
surcharge?
We have to start somewhere.
I
I'm
agree.
just open to-
It's,
I'm just in the middle here, and I'm getting it from,
yeah,
I got 30-some thousand residents screaming at me, and I've got pickleballers galore who want
I know.
as many courts as we can build. And I don't know what to say to anybody
I think
anymore.
we
It's
are
just-
going to have a surplus
Well, I
coming
get
up,
calls.
because other cities are building them now. But, and so you don't want to make, if you did a surcharge, in my opinion, you wouldn't want to make it too high, because you do want to keep it affordable. Especially there's a lot of
Well,
seniors.
I would
you
prefer
know.
there not be any charge. 'Cause
Right,
I'm a
that's-
true believer that the parks are paid for,
I agree with you.
by the property taxpayers, and they should be allowed to use the parks. I think the parks we've done great things in Dale. I mean, we've put as much time as we can. There's days in the summer, we've got 8, 9 guys working in the parks. And we're putting the roads second a lot of times, and that's not really right. I want people to use the parks, but I want all Franklin residents to be able to use the parks. And I tell you, I get the complaints that we're allowing a small little group to use them and nobody else. And you know what's gonna hit the fan one day. And they're not happy when I get the calls. They are not happy. And they are not happy
Then
with the
why
way they're
don't they
treated
come to
either.
one of our meetings? I don't mean to be rude or not take what they're saying into account. But I can tell you, before I was on this commission, everybody knows how many meetings that I came to since before you guys put those permanent courts in, to get them to come in. And it's been through the rec, and it was always through the rec. And it's just I would hate to see the program die. The cities have, they have rec programs.
I would
Yeah.
say.
Like
And there are
90%
Franklin
are,
residents using the courts. It's not
Right.
like it is a specific private group that we're allowing.
And it's
They're
open for a
Northgate
whole
parking lot.
week to Franklin, and then it's open to outside. So if they don't take that 7 to 10 day window, is that
If people don't come to the meetings because they expect their elected official to be their voice. That's my job.
right?
That's why
But
I
I'm
should've
They
saying,
have come to our meetings, though. We have heard the voice of citizens come and provide comment at these meetings about wanting more court time and being able to reserve them and having to, and
That's
we've
why I'm
listened
here
to them
tonight.
and we prioritize making new courts, right? We have 4 at Pleasant View, brand new, beautiful, double marked in different parks. We have 10 new courts, beautiful, right at the heart of the city. We have available courts that are not so great, that was being utilized and we were making do with it. You put in those screens, you made some improvements to stop the balls from rolling out, and people in the leagues are really happy with it. And it's popular and they want to see more league time if they can. And we're keeping them constrained to this time frame, which is 5:30. And then Saturday, you've got all Saturday afternoon, all Sunday available. And I drive around this city and I look at the parks and I don't see the people on the courts. I see open courts often. So I think it's a little anecdotal. Are 38,000 people calling us and complaining? Would we send them over to the
We get lots of
rec department? Yeah,
They want more.
and you explain to them, well, we have it reserved for a specific amount of time. If you'd like to get in, it opens at midnight. Get online, register, and you can play in. And that's a great way to it's a great community program because I've met so many people who I now know when I go shopping at the supermarket because of pickleball in Franklin. I mix with people I wouldn't normally see. They're not the parents of kids, my kids' school. They're people in my community who I wouldn't get exposed to outside of pickleball. So I think it's interesting that we would even entertain the thought of not having the Franklin Pickleball League with it being one of your more popular programs. I see the other things, they don't always fill up, right? The registrations for the other events. In fact, one of the ones I just signed up for got canceled because not enough people signed up, the falconry one with Mosquito. So why would we do that? If we had to tack on a couple extra dollars, is it going to be worth it? What are we going to be putting that towards? I mean, is it going to get us
Maintenance.
the maintenance? But I mean,
Yep.
we're talking like what, $5 per person times 70 per session? I mean, it just sounds like very minimal effect.
I'm open to like a percentage split for maintenance for the rec. I'm not
And I
against
talked to
that.
the school board president about that too, and we're gonna try to partner and come up with something that's reasonable that says, hey, look, you're getting the money, but we're doing the work, so we have to get something to do that. It has to be that way. I'm gonna just backtrack a little bit here I've never played pickleball before. I touched a racket once. I'm starting this year, and I'm not ready to join a league. I mean, I just want to start playing, but you have to be very careful with what's open and where it's open and things like that. I understand that, and I understand the popularity of it. And I think it's a great thing where we've come from and where we're at. It's how do we manage it? But how do we look at those 36,000 people I throw that number out there because that's where we're at. Not saying all are playing, but I'm just saying how do we tell the community, a community that I lived in my entire life, Kevin's lived in his entire life, Dale's lived here his entire life. How do we look at that and say, this is, we pay our taxes, we build these parks and we want to use them. Oh no, now I've got to pay this or I've got to, if there was something that could be open, even one court somewhere where it's always open that we could put up there and say, maybe Ken Wendell isn't used for leagues. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of spitballing.
It's not Ken Wendell.
But isn't that true that the other ones are open?
They are open.
It's just this one court during these times is reserved for this. Nothing else is reserved.
And with the
that's
and it's
kind of the point I was
early
getting
that
at.
the high school does their pickleball little thing.
So Ken Wendell's never on a reservation only thing? It's wide open all the time?
All the
Ken
time.
Wendell has not been reserved yet, but the hope was that we would move the league over to those because they have been waiting and asking for new courts. And it makes sense. They're the experienced players in our city and they want a good game and we want them to have good courts because they're paying. That was the idea, but we do have the other courts to play. And I'm not sure that the residency time period is relevant to this conversation. I appreciate that you've lived here your whole life. Pickleball's been popular since the 70s when Bill Gates' dad started playing in his backyard. That's the start of it. But it's increased over the last 3 years exponentially, and we're never going to satisfy the needs. They've built one in Oak Creek, right, where you can go pay to play. Have you guys been there yet? The big pickleball emporium or whatever? I haven't been there because it's indoor.
Oh, that's
yeah.
South Milwaukee.
Yeah, South Milwaukee,
Yeah, South
my bad.
Milwaukee.
People are making a business out of it. We had The Rock almost make pickleball up at The Rock. I heard there was plans to make an entertainment center and pickleball courts because it's definitely a money generator, and we'd love to see that. We'd actually like residents to be able to reserve the courts for specific amounts of time in a system where they can do it online and make payments online, and it would be easy for us to generate income for the city with the use of our courts.
And that's if you want to charge. Otherwise, the reservation system where these people, if they don't want to pay, they want an
Okay.
open court, they could, if it still could be reserved for them.
That's fine. And the reason why I mentioned the three of us being lifers here wasn't just to wow you. It was to or have you shoot back at me about you appreciate that we lived here. It's about looking at the citizens here that want to. And now that I know that I get the calls. If I can dish them off and say, hey, you can go play at Ken Wendell, first come, first serve. My conversation's now done with them.
Well,
It
you
was under
can.
my well, I understand that, ma'am, but what I didn't know until right now was that there are open courts.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that isn't crystal clear, because apparently I haven't gotten any recently, but I was getting them up until fall. About, well, where can I go play? Where can I go play? I'm not
Okay.
taxpayer.
And
Well,
that-
probably what you also don't know then is that this woman here made a fantastic resource that we use in this meeting all the time. And it was supposed to go online. Is it online?
No, it's
It's
not.
not online yet. We've asked for it to be online, that show
Oh,
exactly what
And
we
to
just
put
showed
the
you.
schedule online, but it never made it online.
But
So
we can get this online. Mary can work with Lisa
That's what we
Community
would like.
and get it
with
out
the
there.
schedule,
And
right,
we'll get it out there because
right,
if
but
I
it
know
never made
now,
it online.
you'll never hear
Right.
it coming out of my mouth again. Because now they have
intent
some, well, they have
never
somewhere to
got
go.
there.
I
We
gotcha.
feel it's a bit of a waste of time, and we don't want to waste your time
I'm
either on
leaving
it
it
too.
after
And we
this
did
next
in
month,
previous
so.
meetings make all these things
Yeah.
because we kept listening to the public tell us
Mm-hmm.
this is a problem, and we thought that the Parks Commission would help to resolve it. Your products are
This is
fantastic. I
This
show
is
it to my
wonderful.
friends, and they're like,
Right.
"I didn't even know we had tennis courts." And Ken Wendell, right? The
Right,
secret
She's
tennis
done
court.
so much, and none
but
of it
none of
gets
it
online.
ever gets,
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
it will be getting online because
That's
Marion
the-
will work with
the
Lisa
lead-
Gooding and it'll
That's
get
the
online.
reason I'm leaving, yes.
Yeah, over by
That's why you're leaving?
Sorry, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, people don't.
I would
That's
And it's
Probably
nothing
for
to do
bigger
with
reasons
you,
than that.
it's nothing to do with
That's what
Marion,
it's
but it's,
Thank you.
it's just the
Thank you, Mara.
overall thing, so.
So do we need to make a motion though on the start time? Do we need to adjust it now?
What are your
I
thoughts
just
on
wanna
an
say-
adjustment by half an hour? Have we gone to print already for the booklets for reservations?
No, I think it's gonna be a moot point, honestly. I don't think, 5:30 is fine.
People usually show up at 5 anyways and start
To get
playing
ready.
on the courts to
Yeah.
get ready. If another group is playing there, we just tell them at 5:30 we have this reserved for rec. And I've seen it be friendly and I've seen it be a little whatever questionable to be like, you're out, you know. But most of the time we let people play if they're there at 5 o'clock. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah,
Like
we
if they
do,
come
we
from-
let them play until it starts. We say, once it's the time of start, we'd ask you to
So thank
leave.
you, Alderman Eicherman,
Thank
for
you, I
coming.
appreciate you.
And I hope
Yeah.
you can share that information with your constituents because they're the people we're trying to, listen to and make changes.
Well, they're not just my constituents that I represent in District 2, they're from throughout the city.
Mhm.
Everyone calls me because the courts are in my district. So I get
Perfect.
calls from D6, D1, D3, everyone, they all get filtered to me.
Okay, perfect. Well, keep us
I
informed
appreciate
if you
the
hear
hard work
anything
everyone's
else.
done, and I would really appreciate that 5:30 start time. I think that would make a real big difference, especially for the younger kids that, parents are calling saying my high school kid can't get on the court to play. Well, now they have after school
Mhm.
until 5:30. And I realize we're going into summer, but I appreciate all the hard
Perfect.
work you guys do, so thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to make a motion that we change it to 5:30 for the start times. Any thoughts on the dates?
These are the usual dates? Okay.
I think it gives consistency to parks to be able to put out their publications that notify the citizens when they can make their reservations in the in the rec program, because you put it out in that booklet, right? The spring and summer booklet. So it's nice that we can do it for the whole year, so that you have those dates already ahead
Yeah,
of
I
time.
think April is already out there, but it's an easy email to all people that are registered already, just to push back half hour.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna.
Did they register already?
For April?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That comes out in the winter spring guide.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Did we get a second?
I'll second.
Can I add one thing to your motion? Just because I want it on the record, because I don't want that part of the conversation to die. So the motion would be, as stated, except Monday through Thursday from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And that Mayor Nelson will continue to have conversations with the school board on the potential for some fees to be given back to the city for maintenance. Not that it's going to happen, but the discussion will continue, just so that it's on part of the
Okay,
motion.
so I get this right. The school board for maintenance?
Yeah, that some of the rec fees may come back to the city for assistance with maintenance.
Right, and there's also Saturdays from 9 to 12.
Yeah, those we would
Wasn't
leave on
that
it
also-
from 9 to 12. There's a group that comes at 8 a.m. What's that?
Wasn't it also Saturday? Was it?
Oh, yeah, it was 11, wasn't it?
No, we switched it to 12 because we were gonna do everybody.
Oh,
We
okay,
used to
all
Oh,
have,
right,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
When you
okay.
combine the semi-competitive and social, that's right.
All right, okay. So-
Keep in mind the referendum passing will get some tennis courts at the high school, which will be open to taxpayers as well.
High school?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many?
And I know this is really kind of beside the point, but maybe when we have our walkthrough of the parks, Pleasant View. I can't tell you how many people that I have talked to that don't know that there were tennis courts down there or pickleball courts, because there isn't a sign on the road. So you would never know unless you lived in that neighborhood or somebody told you.
Well,
I suspect
Or you
I suspect that's the case for a lot of the calls that are coming in, is that people don't know, they only know of these two because
Because
that's
they
what they
see
see.
them. They see them from the road.
So, yes, so I suspect some of those, not all, but some of those call volumes will go down once people understand that there are other places they can play.
on the website right now, Marion, is just a link to the map that we have for the parks. If we could get an actual small image that people know that that's what they're clicking into. I think when we went to the Halloween thing and we're giving out maps and showing people, we heard people tell us that they have it on their refrigerator. Do you remember?
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh, I got that. I pulled it out of the center of that publication and I put it on my refrigerator." But then when I go to the website, it's like, click here, the map, Parks Department made a map. I feel like if they have a visual there, even if it's not something you're going to actually blow up, you still need to click on the link. I think that would be helpful.
I'll see if that's possible. I don't know for sure that it
What
is,
your
but
publication tool does.
yeah.
Well, the library, this Franklin Library has a nice website. It's really nice and organized. Like you can just go to it and it takes you to all these places. I wish we had one that the parks had it where it tells you here's your parks and how to rent stuff, and here's the map and here's everything. We don't have that. It's just everything's all with the city stuff, and it's horrible. It's just horrible. It's embarrassing, actually. We all know that,
All right. So we have what we want written in about
right? We do know
the
that. Even the
school.
rec department it's nicer.
It'll go to 5:30, and we'll
Yeah.
also mention that
It's actually different than the one I
Nelson will
sent you.
continue his conversation
Yeah.
with the school
Yeah, they had
around rec
updated
fees,
actually.
sharing rec fees for maintenance.
You said this is
That's good to
on
me.
the website I can get then?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
No, they didn't put it on. Yeah, only you have it. Yeah, it's a little different.
I'm going to move on with our agenda so we can keep with the time.
Kind of the same, but not
Um,
really. I'll send you a new one.
So I made a motion with the time change and now also with the addition of the connection between our parks and schools. Can I get a second?
We did, Mary.
Marion,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Let's go back up to unfinished business. Can we get an update on parks maintenance, please?
Really not too much going on. We continuing to brush some of the trails in the parks and got some buckthorn down, and then it's snowing, so probably the rest of the winter we're not going to be able to do too much that way. So right now, I guess the parks are kind of on hold until spring comes. Well, I mean, we're still plowing the trails for people to walk the trails. Plowed the trails today, so. Still in the park. So,
Yeah, make copies for everybody. That was nice.
Well, thank you, Dale and Kevin, for all your hard work in the maintenance of our parks. They're really great resources in our city, so we appreciate it. Moving on to item B, parks marketing materials. I think we just kind of discussed that where we had said we'd like to get an image up of the maps, right, on the website.
I think the maps are up there. The map is up there.
What does it say when it's open and the times?
Hold on.
Yeah, the map is up there as you've seen it printed. That's there someplace. I just wish it was all together in one place under parks and stuff like that.
Does it give the times they're open there?
What I did do, okay, do you remember how we had that thing printed out? I'm gonna just pass this out to you guys. So I'll bring some of this way. I updated it because we changed the fees.
This is that packet that we
Yeah,
had at the
yeah, so
Halloween
we
thing.
had it printed. I did make a thing,
Thank you.
that with the printed stuff, with the new fees, remember we said we were going to
For rentals.
to add this to the cover of the printed stuff, so these are the new fees. If you wanna
this is
see
great.
this, I don't know, this
Give me
is so
another.
hard.
Can you give me another one?
Yeah,
Failed you all.
here. Okay, here's some for you
Thanks for doing
guys.
this. We had talked about
So,
this.
but I do have some questions. So there's a little yellow slip in there, and it says what I changed. So I changed all the fees, and so we won't reprint this because it changes once a year at least, because we changed the fees. So I changed, I said on this little slip, it says if you want to look at this, what I changed. So on every page, I said the cover I kept the same. On page 2, I added that community park watch, because we're trying to promote that a little bit. So if you look at that a little bit.
Yes.
That's that logo right at the eyeball.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I included that. I kept everything else the same on that page. On page 2, or on page 3, I didn't change anything because nothing changed on there. Page 4, here I have a question for page 4. Under the park regulations or whatever, so on number 14, if you look at that, rides, tents, and other equipment, we talked about bounce houses. I wish the mayor was here because he didn't want us. What did we do
I
about
thought
the
we
bounce?
said no. I
We
thought we
said
said no.
no.
We
No?
did.
So-
We voted no on
So
that.
we have to change that in these policies then, and it's on here twice. So I will change that.
Does that have to be an ordinance change?
Well, this is a policy, how do we change policies,
The park rules are an administrative policy, and my understanding is this commission is the body that sets the rules, and then they're
So
supposed to
I can
be-
just rewrite it and then you guys can approve it or whatever next time? Cause I saw it, I went, oh, we have to change that then.
Mhm. I think it would make sense to write up something about for this specific park or for this specific application, because I'm not sure that applies to all of the parks. It's something that's on the
Oh, I
forms.
thought they meant all the parks,
Yeah,
all the
for
bounce
the
bounce
houses.
houses,
No,
nowhere.
none at all, right?
Right.
None.
Okay.
So what
So the
about,
new rule is nothing.
Yes.
right, what about tents?
No.
No tents, see, yeah, so the tents are out.
See, that used to be,
Yeah, no.
but you had to get approval for it.
Right,
No, there's no
right.
tents, no
They got
bounce
rid
houses.
of all of that.
Okay.
Basically nothing you can.
So
you have to
no
stable.
dunk tanks?
No dunk tanks.
Okay. Well, people have had them, right?
Really? At a picnic?
No mechanical ride, no dunk tanks, no bounce houses. What else do they have?
Is there
Glitter and
allowed or not?
pinatas.
But that's already in, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I
Somewhere.
think, yeah, I think we
They're supposed to
already
use
took
the
that
parks
out.
for what
So
they
you
are.
say we should just take out all of number 14 then?
Oh.
Just
So
take
we're
all of
gonna
them out?
say none of those things are allowed.
Just
I
not
thought we
permitted.
couldn't use the word pinatas.
Why? I never heard that.
But
I thought
what
that
did I
was
I
say?
think we
already
should.
on the-
I think we
I
should.
thought that was
because
on the
it's not
permit.
clear.
It already was written into the permit that you couldn't have pinatas, no?
I thought that was on our signs.
Or was it on the sign?
I thought they said
What would you call
glitter
them?
and candy and named things and said we couldn't say pinatas because it was
Because
Never heard that.
Hispanic.
Hispanic, yeah.
Karen, would it just be easier to remove all of 14? Because it doesn't seem like any of it.
Well, we
pertains
wanna
anymore.
say that we do not allow these things.
Ah, that's true.
Just will not be
Not
permitted.
allowed.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
just take out,
So just stop right there.
Bounce houses.
Rides,
Park
tents,
permit.
yeah.
take out the unless indicated on park permit.
Where are you seeing that?
On number 14, will not be permitted on park property.
Oh,
full
unless
stop,
indicated.
period,
on the
period. Cross out
Take over.
Oh, and
unless,
take
second
out,
line.
yeah, mechanical rides, dunk tanks,
And
all
then you
that.
could put no mechanical rides, dunk tents, bounce houses, etc. And then must obtain a, can be crossed out as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Where does it say no pinatas?
It doesn't.
In this packet, no, what I was talking about was the sign at the actual park. Didn't it say that?
It says it someplace in here, just wait.
So what
Can I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, you know, the like softball, like pop-up tents, you know, those aren't allowed. So if I were to go in there just for shade, say that, you know, my grandmother is sensitive to sun and we don't have a pavilion where the park is. I can't go and just take a foldable tent and put it up.
No, it was changed last year.
Good.
It just, it got to the point it was being so abused at the parks that it was just finally decided.
Abused in like just
It
they wouldn't
was
take down the tent
tents and
or
it was bounce houses and generators and grills and you name it, it just.
I think
it was
it's just under
exploded.
so
decorations.
a good
It's
intention
kind of no
was
staples,
ruined
blah,
by
blah, 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 but no balloons, no
I get it.
confetti. It's like you
Yeah.
can't have anything.
But you don't use the word pinata.
Yeah, I think you guys took it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it should be
Yeah.
in there. It makes things clearer. They took it out because they didn't want to.
Sometimes on that agenda thing, you know, when you're doing that, I think in like September, you should add that to the agenda to go over the park policies. Like that should be like on a regular basis. And I also think with the fees, you should do that in September or like before the budget is done, not in December. To make that a regular thing in September or something to do that because that it's kind of bad to do it in December right before. It's kind of hard on the clerk's office, isn't it?
To make the changes, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of bad to do.
Recommendation to.
Yeah, but what was the last? I got review policies and rules.
In September, nice December.
and-
To add it to the agenda, to
Yeah.
do that,
Annually
to
in
review
September?
them, right? Because no one really reads these things.
True. Okay.
Any further discussion on the parks marketing material?
So I can take this out here too then. Just, I can cross this out because there's no inflatables at all, nothing.
what about like crafts and stuff? Dale? Inside on like on crafts and I know there's some kid parties over at Pleasant View that
No
there's paint
crafts.
paint on the floor.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a
paint.
beautiful pavilion and there's paint over there, right? I mean,
Isn't those signs that you made, or you have made, those signs say that, don't they?
And they shouldn't be bringing paint into the park, that's not what we want. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
To let them have paint?
I know.
no,
Should
don't
say
let them
that.
have it. I'm not saying allow
They
it,
didn't
no.
have that.
But I mean, it's worth stating, it's not in here. I mean, you have balloons and confetti,
Mhm.
you have decorations, but is it worthwhile? I mean, I hate to add another thing on there, but I mean, some of these kids' parties, I mean, even the pavilion over at Kayla's Playground, they were making borax slime, you know.
Oh, the
and-
slime.
Right, with borax and that marshmallow foam or whatever, and I ended up on the playground and.
It does say for, I'm just reading, I didn't
Mayor, I'm
interrupt,
taking
but
the-
Pleasant View Park
I pulled up the
Pavilion
picture
on the
of the
permit,
sign.
it
It
does
does
say
not say pinata.
gum,
It
silly
says
string,
glitter.
confetti, paint,
Yeah,
chalk,
glitter
glitter,
and water
and water
balloons.
balloons.
Oh, yeah.
Strictly
That should be
good.
good.
Chalk, paint,
slime's okay.
confetti.
But
silly
slime's
string.
okay.
So do we want to
No,
add
it's
that to
not.
this too then? So whatever it says on those signs,
That's
to
the
add
only
that
word
to
I
it?
think it's worthwhile to add what's on the signs on
Because I
here,
think
right?
that goes along with.
So those
the-
That
are
would make
under
it match, yeah.
decorations, so do
Make
we
it
want
should
to
match.
crafts? Do we want to put it under crafts or something? What do we want to put that under?
Crafts.
It'd be nice to have a.
Perhaps under the
catch-all
decorations.
phrase, 'cause-
Crafts, decorations?
Right, yeah, because
Yeah.
they're changing it every year.
Number 3,
And we
I
have to change
think it
everything.
might go because
All
you've
right.
got the glitter rice, confetti.
But you want to have your kids do something.
Anything messy.
Sometimes you want a little thing. You don't want paint, obviously, but
Right.
Right, I mean,
Well, I'll look up what the signs say and I'll
Yeah.
combine it
I,
then.
I might have a picture of it.
I have
Okay.
a picture of the sign.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
did
do?
the
Okay,
signs.
perfect.
Yeah, I did the signs, so I'll just pull it from them.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay,
Yeah, just to have it.
all right. Beautiful. Yay,
All
so
right, great.
we're solving
Thank you
some
for
stuff.
doing this. This is really helpful, and I know we
Yes,
just
it
talked
is.
about it, but I didn't know you were taking it as an assignment, so.
Well, I updated it, so just update it all. So that's what we're here for,
When will
right?
your last
Thank you.
meeting be? Will be.
I'm here next month, so it'd be great. I'll have this done and you can put it online then by then.
All right, so
how's
we'll
that?
have that on the agenda.
It's a really nice document, really well done.
Excellent.
Okay, so I think I didn't have any other, I did make this change then. It would be on page 12. So under baseball fields, since we're not taking any fees for them and there's no reservations to be made, I took out that there's no reservations that you need to make anymore. So there was a whole line on what you had to do before. So I took it out, and I just put a little reminder that the fields need to be cleaned and left in good condition, kind of a thing. So that's what I added. So you just need to read that and see if that's okay. I did not put in there that teams are left to defend for themselves. Although I felt like I needed to do that, but
Oh, for the baseball?
yeah, because there's a lot of them.
No
That's
fighting.
the reason you're not doing it, but so they can stay there for hours and hours upon hours. Yeah.
I really like this page too. There's no such thing as a trash fairy.
Right. Well, that was in the other one. I didn't
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
that.
And this isn't online now?
It was. I don't know if it is anymore. I haven't been online. I haven't checked.
Well,
On that page.
why would they take it off?
I don't know.
I
Well,
don't
because
know.
now
I
the
haven't
fees
looked.
changed. Maybe they took it off
That's all
because
I'm
the
asking.
fees changed.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I'll give you a new one and then it'll be up to date and stuff like that, so.
Awesome, so next meeting, we'll take a look at the revisions and we'll approve it and then get it put up on
Then
the
it'll be
website.
online again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, we've approved, let's make a motion to make all of these revisions. That way, if you get them updated, you can get them to the city and perhaps they can get it to the person who put it on online because those fees are coming up quick, so they'll
Well,
probably.
they're already doing the fees.
Oh,
so-
they are?
Yeah. Yeah, so that
That's
was
right,
in
January
January,
2nd,
right.
yeah.
And so these should be probably copied. I made a big sheet like this for you. So if you want to copy them and put it on the thing.
Can you
I did
email
what
it to me as well?
I can email it to you. I put a note, because I'm going to give you all the files next month too.
Great.
And I kind of put what's the
This
file
one?
name and stuff
What's
like
this
that.
smaller
So, because there's a ton of them. There's like a
Okay.
zillion of them. So
Yep.
I'll make copies of everything and put what the files
I like
names
that.
are, so.
Awesome.
Can these go in the little area right by the clerk's office?
Yeah, that should be
Right as
possible.
Oh, that would be a
you
good
take a
idea.
hard right, and there's
Yeah,
like a
in the
little
pamphlet box,
kiosk
yeah.
almost. This would be perfect to slip in there.
Yeah, they have them online, so it's that they do have, because I wanted just to confirm. There was one that was higher than what I had, my math was,
can I-
but whatever.
Also make just one recommend, we had the QR code to go to the webpage for parks too on some other items. I wonder if something like that could have the code so
Oh,
that
just to add it on there?
people could get it online.
Right, well, this was just, yeah,
The
we could.
insert for the
Right.
changes.
Yeah, this was just intended to go on the printed books.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we could do that. It could go actually right in the corner.
Are the printed ones going to go somewhere or it's just going online?
This was
I
just
don't
for
know.
us to tell us what changes
Okay,
were
all right.
made.
Well, this is to go
The
on the
insert.
printed ones if they use them.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's the updated.
I think the printed ones should be available at the library and different places. I mean, I like picking up paper.
I do too. I pick up stuff at the library all the time.
You could probably leave a chunk of them here for the senior lunch folk too.
Right.
They're currently in the office, I think.
Yeah.
The box.
Well, yeah, but put these on first.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody can do that.
Yeah, we'll have to replenish the library. So.
All right.
All right, should we make a motion to accept all of the changes for the publication and for the marketing materials?
I can make that motion.
Okay,
Accept revisions, okay.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving on to the next item is Friends of the Park, Park Watch. Discussion on the creation of a Park Watch and Cleanup Group. I think we can table that until we join up with our other group that also has a vision of doing that, and then make a joint plan for that.
Right.
In agreement, everybody? Okay.
No, I
wait till
didn't
we
get this into the city newsletter because I was sick or whatever, so I didn't get that to her, so we can just do it on the next one.
Okay.
I'll send it over or whatever too. You said Lisa is her name?
Yeah. We're
Is it Lisa?
So we're gonna
Yeah,
discuss-
CC me just so I
I'm
make sure
sorry, I
that
skipped that.
Can I just send it to you
Yep.
then? Yeah.
And then I'll
All right.
D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
We're
made
just
one
gonna
a smaller
table it
one so
till
it
next
fits in the
month.
thing.
Or till we join
resized
with
it.
Until, or yeah, until we
May
join
1st.
May.
And I just did it in black. I don't remember
And
the
then
blue
can
that
you
she
make a note
uses.
that we did add the,
The-
Yeah, it's always
EMS
single
neighborhood
color, so it's
watch
usually black, but it'll
It's
just be
gonna go
blue
to the
or
She'll
whatever.
just change it to blue.
Yeah.
that,
Would I make a note here?
yeah,
Oh,
just on D, because it's the, it's for the Friends of the Park, Park Watch.
okay, say that again, I missed it.
Sure. We're submitting to the city to go into the newsletter, the Neighborhood Watch,
Community Park Watch.
Community Park Watch
Mhm.
program.
Community park.
Okay, sorry, I did skip one. C, community event engagement. Arbor Day is coming up quick, and I assume that the environmental has something again where maybe they're going to be doing the tree giveaway again or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our
So
arborist was talking about.
Arbor Day is scheduled for May 3rd. There is the annual tree giveaway sponsored by DPW, and the city forester will be there, presumably with members of the commission, to help distribute those trees. They weren't able to meet to have a selection process, but typically they choose which trees are distributed to the public. So they didn't have quorum. So if there are materials that the commission wanted to distribute, that the Parks Commission currently thinks should be distributed at that event, that's a good opportunity to do that. And then obviously it's open to the public, but if some of you wanted to attend as members of the commission, I think
We
that would be
did say
great.
something at our last meeting about that.
I think we just had discussed the date of it.
Oh, yeah, we
And then the
did.
arborist was at our meeting, so he talked
Yeah,
about what it was
okay.
like in the past, so. So we'll table that for now because we still have time for May
Okay.
to decide who might want to volunteer for that and what materials we could provide them. So moving on to item E, park signage.
So we have a later item about the Saputo sign. This is kind of a holdover about the kiosk question and putting materials up. I don't have anything additional on this topic.
Okay. Moving on to item
Dale,
F.
Dale has something.
I have
Hi,
something.
Dale.
The three kiosks at Franklin Woods were removed. One of them
Oh,
kind of fell down
No.
as we were pruning near it because the posts were rotten. So I checked the other two and they were rotten also. And because of the structure, one of them, I don't know if it was the squirrels or whatever, ate the top of it. They basically all needed to be rebuilt if you were going to keep them. So I took them all down. So they're all gone.
are you keeping the plexiglass and the frame, or no? Did that all get tossed?
I kept just the windows to use it for something else. Now, because I make those little frames that have the reservations at the.
Yeah, I was wondering.
So I'll use the plexiglass for.
Oh, you just kept the glass, not the frame
Plexiglass, right.
around it. You know, I'm talking. The kiosk had the frame that went around the
Why do you
plexi.
ask? Why do you ask?
Well, because I thought that might be something nice at some of the courts to put up when they're open play, and I mean, it could be used at more than one court. This court is, open play. Just put messages in there, whatever that people might want to add. No, I'm just.
I thought we were going to replace those with that board,
Oh yeah, those.
that board that didn't have Okay.
That's
What was the
true.
There
board
was
made out of?
nothing, there was no motion moved, there was nothing that was decided on where they were gonna go or.
We
No,
said we were
but
gonna wait till
We were talking
our,
about it, and there was, what was that board made out of, do you know?
Which board are we talking
It's
about?
not MDF.
Oh,
board.
with the frame and stuff.
Yep,
Yeah,
that you could just
The metal
remove.
frame, that thing that I designed.
Right, I don't
It had
know
a
what the
metal
name
frame
of
and
it.
it had a,
MDF maybe, is that what it is?
I don't remember.
Oh, it's a-
I don't even have a
We
picture of
decided
it.
not to move
Before
forward
I-
until we had a
The
plan
walkthrough.
for what we wanted to put on it. We were gonna
Mike-
ask them to
Mike
make
would
it
know.
until we had that, right?
He's not here.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of it or anything.
Right.
I can bring it next month. Or I can just email it to you.
Okay, that's it for the park signage. Moving on to the 2025 meeting schedule. The spring tour of parks. Do we have a date set for that?
You had deferred to making a decision on that. It's too early now. But if you wanted to make a decision so that you could schedule it, because obviously it needs to be a Saturday.
And it has to be spring, so that would be May. But that would possibly be our first meeting as a joint commission, so maybe that would be a little complicated.
Yeah.
So should we push it to June
Or should we make it in April?
or April? April. Let's do it in April.
April 19th?
Let's see.
That's
When is
Easter
April
weekend.
20th is Easter.
Oh,
What
late
would have
this
been our
year.
meeting? Second Monday?
The 14th.
14th.
I'm out of town.
Oh, you're out of town that week?
Yeah, that weekend is the Franklin Middle School DC trip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
is that too early?
April 5th?
It could snow.
Be a little chilly or a little muddy.
How about the 26th?
That was cute.
April 26th, closer to May?
I can't be there.
No.
That's okay.
Those little plants kind of freak me out a little bit.
April 5th, I got my
Well, there's
kids in
supposed to be
the,
somebody that can be.
yeah.
And where are these people living?
got no words.
I-
Sometimes you just have to go.
Oh, yeah, she'll be gone.
Yours did that.
There was a vision there, somebody had a vision.
Kathy, when are you gonna be leaving? When are you leaving?
Actually, this is my last meeting.
This is?
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
I was just thinking, so, no. So it's just our schedules and Mike's really right now. You can't do the 26th. What about the 19th? No, he
I
said that's
thought
Easter. May 3rd, I can't do 10th.
Well, Easter isn't till on Sunday.
It's true.
You know, it's light later.
I can't,
Well,
I can't do the 19th.
We're going, I thought we did it on a Saturday always.
Yeah.
Usually Saturday morning.
Saturday
Yeah.
morning, yeah.
Trying to find a
That's
Saturday.
And then we
Right.
didn't have a
Yes.
meeting that one. That was the meeting.
Yep.
Correct.
How about, when's May 17th?
And bring the other group in?
And the other group can come with us.
That would be their first meeting.
We can do that.
I think that actually might be
I think that's actually a good idea.
constructive, yeah, to have it be kind of.
So I make a motion that we have our spring
Tour.
tour of parks. Let's wait till next month to decide which parks we'll go to.
Okay.
Think about it over the month and come with your recommendations next meeting. Which ones we want to go to. And that's usually, I think we start at 9 a.m., right?
Yep.
So 9 a.m. My motion is for May 17th at 9 a.m.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
So then there's no meeting on May 12th.
There would not be a meeting on May 12th. Do you say aye? I say aye also. Aye.
Everybody?
All right.
Everybody? Yes?
Yep.
May 12th, you said no meeting.
Yep. So if we can just get that noted in the next packet, that would be great. Moving on, we did G, so moving on to new business. We talked about A already, so moving to B. Franklin Rec Department pickleball amenities request. windscreen proposal to install permanent paddle holders in the courts purchased by rec and discussion of the signage. We got that in our packet, what it might look like.
Oh yeah, I like them.
They're great, yeah,
They're not very big.
and they're lightweight too.
Yeah, and they're whole 12. They had those in Arizona. I saw those. They're very nice.
How are they secured?
I don't know how onto the. It's like they cut
It looks like
Oh,
a
yeah.
You
little
can't take it and walk away with
No,
it.
you can.
looks
There's
like
like, but they won't stay there, right? They're take down, or do they stay? They're permanent. Oh,
I can double check on that. If they,
They look permanent, yeah, they
Maybe like a
would be
lock.
fixed
I don't
onto
know
the.
why they would need to come down.
no, I don't want to. If we don't have
I
to, no.
think that would be a discussion for,
They
For
look
Kevin
pretty
and
good.
Dale, yeah.
These look temporary.
Yeah, they
It's
look
got,
tough.
like, an
There's a
S-hook.
hook. Yeah.
On the description, I think.
Do they hang on the outside or the inside?
Oh.
Usually
I
the
think either
outside,
way.
Usually outside we put them.
because you wouldn't want
Is it
players
top
walking
here?
in on the.
yeah, this looks like on the outside.
Yeah.
On the picture.
On the court when people are playing.
And I think there's talk of 3 of them. They hold 12 paddles each.
So if they were, in theory, if they were not permanent, they could just come and go with like the rec league. Then in
In
theory,
the bin.
because I feel like they would then.
I don't.
Well, my concern is that then if they're not permanent, that somebody would just.
Walk off.
Okay.
You could do
I'll
a
make sure that-
combination lock.
Or I mean, I guess, but like I said, I defer to our maintenance folks if it's something that can.
Alright, not.
If they're not super heavy duty, they're gonna get wrecked, because kids will start jumping out.
Okay. Then we'll put them in the bin.
Okay. I'll look up some other options there and make sure to check if they're permanent or movable easily. It'd probably be easy just to hang it on there.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be.
And really, I think you're better off hanging on the inside. You're less likely to have kids ripping them off if they have to go inside.
Are the courts locked? Can I ask that? Overnight? Or is it-
Well, they're locked for the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the summertime, they're not. Unless, I shouldn't say that. We start getting a bunch of vandalism, it's gonna lock a lot.
All right, well, thank you for that. I think that's the beginning of the sharing some responsibility with the school system and the city park. So that's a good movement forward.
Yeah, I've just asked whoever does the windscreens to send me what you buy, what you link. I'm illiterate on pickleball windscreens. So if you send me the link that you're.
I only have a suggestion, sorry. The Muskego windscreens, ours are very nice. Muskegos have a little bit more visibility. People like to watch from the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know what they have if, I can't remember the guy's name over there in their rec department, which.
Adam, probably.
Adam, yeah. Yeah, they're just like the ones we have, except there's a little more visibility that you can, they hold the wind and everything out, but you can see through them.
Yeah, I can check with them and then pass it on to you guys if you have that kind of screen would work.
Are we sure we want windscreens? Because we do get the complaints that
Come on in.
they make the glass hot.
That, yeah, I can't hear. You're the only one I can't hear.
Now you come when we're on the last.
2 more things. Would we like windscreens? My thought is yes. It makes a huge difference to play because the pickleball is so light that if it's a breezy day, you get a little bit of reprieve from those.
Yep.
It levels up the game.
Makes it real interesting.
Just a
physically.
couple notes, we already bought the windscreens, and they're 88% blockage, same as the other ones.
Okay,
So I
that's
mean,
all right. I just thought if you hadn't,
And
it's
then,
all
one note on these 10 courts, the other 2 situations are 4 courts at Vernon Park and Pleasant View. So the windscreen's gonna be closer to the courts. This 10 courts is spread out more, so you're gonna have more wind getting in there, I'm guessing. So just keep that in mind, so it's not gonna block the wind as much as it would
Sure.
in the other courts. So,
okay. So you already have them and Leah's paying for
Yeah,
them.
I would love to reimburse you. Thought we talked about like us buying that for a while, so if you wanna give me an invoice, we can do that.
Yeah, we can work.
Well, that makes it easy.
All right, well, thanks for that.
Signage, she needs
Signage in the new courts.
to- Yeah, what is she?
Oh, what's the signage for the new courts? That-
Just, time of usage reserved, I don't know if that's
Oh.
out there or not.
Oh,
It says
gotcha.
courts are reserved 5:50 to 8 by the rec department. I think that'd be handy.
I think
I think
currently
Brand's
we're
right.
using those little placard things,
Yeah.
right, for that, so, okay.
Yeah, Dale had those.
I'll just make another one. I'm just making one per set of courts, so we'll put it right in the corner.
Yeah,
And,
are you gonna be moving the bin over?
I guess this should be discussed, I think.
Next meeting? Does it have to be added, or can we?
What is it needed
Well,
for?
can we
April?
get the boxes moved over to the new courts?
April,
The two plastic, what are they, like?
it's one
little-
bin, that
The
bin.
little shed, right, little,
The little,
Is there portable nets in that bin now for?
I think
for
they're
the
all,
courts at Vernon Bar?
those all belong to the rec department. We
Yeah, I see
had,
what
I
you're
think,
saying.
two, but I think they're long gone because with usage, we've been using them how many years now? 4 or 5, they get worn out.
Well, I'm just thinking about the tennis court. The tennis court at Vernon Park has 4 pickleball courts painted on it, but it needs 4 portable nets to use it. So now it's not gonna get used anymore because there's no nets there, and if there's no storage.
I
well,
gotcha.
some people
Surely
have
gonna
their
be no
own, like,
nets
I
there.
have my
I'll bring
own
mine.
portable net and I would bring my own to use it on that court. So do other players, so we wouldn't have a volunteer there to give them out on a weekend or anything anyways. It was only during our play, so we won't need them anymore. They can probably go back to the middle school for that cage, that we use for the courts.
Well, and they're building an indoor, I don't,
There's only gonna be 2 courts, but
oh, okay.
we'll definitely use
Yeah,
all the nets
see
we
what-
can get.
So we might wanna, when we move it, get them back to the school, cause we won't need them at the new courts. Good point, thank you. All right, should we move on to the next one? We've got, this is what I was talking about, the Franklin Rec Department League reservation request for tennis. A request to reserve Ken Wendell tennis courts from June 16th to July 17th, Monday through Thursday from 8:30 to 12. I believe this is for the school,
This should
right?
just be youth tennis. We do
Youth
this every-
tennis.
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
this every
okay.
summer.
Youth tennis?
And this is for their summer program classes, right? We've done this in the past. Does anybody have any discussion for the topic or questions? Then I make a motion that we pass it as written.
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, moving on to the last item, which is the Saputo donation sign for Kayla's Playground, which we have discussed in the past, but this is a review of the proposed sign acknowledging Saputo's support for their new playground, the new playground floor. We had talked about it before, but what do we got?
Right, so within our application for the grant, there was some stipulation in there that we just needed to have signage. So they have a beautiful website for their legacy donations. So I went out there and got kind of an idea of what they've done in other places where they've donated, and just took that back to Lake Country, which did our donor boards. So it's that plastic 3/4 inch where when you engrave it in, there's a different color behind it. So I just went with the white and the red to get Saputo's logo properly displayed. It went through their HR department. They approved that. They did change some of the wording on it, which you see in your packet. Now, I just went with a 30 by 30 sign, which I think not too much of a factor. I think it's a good size. We need to find a location for it.
Oh, here.
To actually put it up at the playground. Saputo has asked that it remains for 10 years. So that's kind of the what was, they did give us $50,000 toward the new flooring, so it
So
would be nice
who's-
to have,
Who's making the sign?
Lake Country.
But I mean, you're taking the lead on, who's doing that? From
I
the city?
reached out to Jeff Baker at Lake Country,
Okay,
and they're a company located in Mayville, just because I had that contact with him building Kayla's playground. So it was kind of that whole joint effort that I had the relationship prior to having the city come on board
okay.
with having that project for Kayla's playground.
So when will this be done?
Well, once we approve it and
Oh, we have to
decide
approve
on,
it, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Well, it
the
was one of
cost.
the requirements of the grant that you
I remember
received,
that,
so we have to
yes.
put it in there.
Right.
It looks fantastic. Does anybody have any objections or
What is the
comments about
cost
the
of it?
verbiage as they
So we
saw
pay
it?
for it from
Well,
Yeah.
I would think so. Somebody has to pay for it. I can't pay for it with good
No, I
looks.
know. No, I know. No, I know
We have
that.
some money still
just saying.
from the,
The cost of it is $322
oh yeah.
That's not bad.
for a 30 by 30 sign.
But-
And it's gonna
Maybe
weather
tourism.
great. I mean, the donor boards, this year's 10 years. We celebrate 10 years in October for Kayla's Playground, and the donor boards are great. They hold up really well.
Just one question.
So.
All right, the dark color is gonna be red, right?
The wording is going to be red
Here,
as
like
well
this.
as the Saputo.
Yeah, I didn't have a color
Oh, there you
printer.
go. Yeah, there.
Okay, so what's routed out? The white,
The red,
the red's routed out?
yeah. So it's
Is the word legacy gonna be super thin letters and be kind of vulnerable to damage? Because they're gonna be so thin. See how small the letters are? Thin. That's gonna be sticking out, right? That's gonna be the untouched part, the word legacy.
down here.
Is that gonna be too thin? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
So you're
this
gonna
is
router
beveled
out the red
out.
part, and that's gonna get routed out, so the L is gonna be sticking up. And if it looks
That's
really
a good-
thin to me, that it could get, that's the kind of thing where,
Yeah. they
I
should
didn't
fill
realize
this
that,
resin or
yeah.
something.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a
And
different layer.
Can it be done and still look good, you know?
Yeah. I'll ask Jeff.
Okay.
I'll ask if he has any other where they've done that before, where it's that white coming up from it. It's an additional layer because it's a white, red, white layer. So if you think of a sandwich, so the bread parts are white, in the middle is red. So when you come in with the router and you do all the lettering, the red is going to show through. But what Dale is asking with the legacy, you have the white that you're routering into the red.
Yeah,
So you're
Yeah.
getting rid of the top layer of that white,
yeah.
so that legacy, those letters are going to be raised, which is a really good point.
And if they're thin,
didn't-
they
So you
probably
want-
wanted to
you want
have
it to
like some
be
kind of resin or in it to make
not
it smooth.
raised.
Right, yeah, right.
You want to make
No,
very
I'm worried about the thin letters. I don't know, in actual size, I don't know how wide
Right.
the legs of the L are.
Yeah,
gonna
but
be,
ideally we don't want it raised, right? I mean,
What do you mean?
that legacy
Well-
is going to be raised.
Well, it'll be flush with the rest of it.
Right.
It'll be raised in relationship to the red background right next to it.
Right.
But it's gonna be the same height as this, but it still could be,
Are you saying if those letters were as thick as the letters above, it might work
so
better?
if you make them bold.
Yeah.
no, I'm
You-
saying
Do
if
the
you use
font
like
bigger?
a wider font here or something to have
Like
these
the
letters.
Yeah.
working.
okay. on top.
I'm just, number one, can they do it with a router without chipping out the letters?
Right.
And number two, is it gonna hold up over time when people come up next to it and start messing with it?
Picking it.
Right. Yeah, I think it should be flush. I can see that there's a risk there with it raised.
I mean,
You
if
know.
they're real thin, they
Right.
could
Well,
be.
even with their the thickness, I mean, you can have people that,
Well, you're gonna have that all throughout these layers too.
No, because that's
the
that's
sign.
routed in.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, now
the
that
white
we've
is out,
discussed
The
it.
right?
white
Yeah.
is.
So Marion, would
The
would
red
we
is
have
in
funds
the
for
middle.
making a sign?
No, right, this is the
Yeah.
first, but.
I don't
still
know
you
of any
get
budget that this
No,
commission
there's not-
like an E here in the
Yeah,
middle of the
So
E.
how would we make
So, you
a
know,
request to
Yeah.
get a paid sign for a company
But that's not as
to be
bad.
put on into one of our parks?
I'll check.
If DPW has funds, otherwise the request would have to go to Common Council.
Yeah, I
From
can,
from the group, do you have already? I mean, from the sign maker, do you have a price?
Yeah,
$322, she said.
Yeah.
22.
So can we submit that
So-
for funding?
I think maybe we can work up some sort of council action sheet and I can talk to Danielle about where we could pull that from.
Okay, that would be
Were you
great.
gonna talk?
So they want it up
I'll
for
talk
10
to our
years, but
finance
I think the
director.
lifetime of our flooring is only 8 years, right? For that particular kind of,
No, it can go 7 to 12, and I
7
would
to
say
12.
with blue
All right,
metal,
so it
they
falls
can
in the
see
range.
If our first flooring lasted this long,
Right.
Yeah.
this flooring should
We have
last
high
at
hopes.
least 10 years.
We'll be building a new playground.
all right, fantastic. All right, so we know we need to make a sign to make good of the agreement that was made for the donation. So now we would like to make a motion to request the 320 funds for
$22.
$22 to make a sign to be put up at Kayla's Park.
And then as far
So
as
could you send me whatever you have from them that kind of shows what the
quote?
amount is?
Yeah.
Because I'll talk to, do I have, is it on one of the attachments?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, I might already have it.
I can send it again.
But then I will talk
hopefully we
to,
can get
we'll get it
that
on a,
made
we'll get it on a
before the-
council action
By the
sheet
time the ground
and
falls.
get it appropriate.
And then
Get it in for
This
the
year.
summer, right?
Well, and I would like to have Saputo
Yeah.
come out and do kind of a nice picture taking so they can put it on their website.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
For
So,
sure.
That would be nice.
when the weather's nice. So do we want to wait until that tour of the parks to decide on where to put it, or should we just entrust that to Dale to kind of put it wherever?
Do they care? Didn't they say something about when you drive around that to turn around?
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
I'm trying to
Gotta
be an
satisfy your
advocate.
needs, too.
I know, I'm just trying to be an advocate for somebody that gave, when somebody gives you that amount of money, you want to be, you want to have the most eyes on it, and, you
So
know,
you need the motion.
so I was just advocating. So,
We need a separate too.
right, exactly, yeah.
Let's work on getting the funding
You know your
first,
part.
and then when we get the sign, we can discuss the location.
Perfect.
And sounds like we have an idea, and then there's probably something to do with the best ground location for it, you know, to put it in. So.
Do I need to have posts? Do I need to get those as well, or do we have anything at DPW, or as far as installation?
So we're gonna put it on the side of the fence, or no?
Well, that's an option.
We sent one replace it.
I mean, we got some extra plastic wood that we can make something up
We do,
and mount it.
okay, all right,
We'll
yeah.
figure that out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I
Courtney
made the
made a
motion.
second.
Second over here. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. That's
Thank
our
you.
last agenda item for this evening. You're welcome.
Time
So let's adjourn the meeting. Call it closed.
Next meeting, May 10th.
May 10th.
March.
No, March 10th. I was going to say, Mary.
Sorry.